Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Not Cranked and Ranked, to Grooved and Removed,
Yes.
which the last episode was Slashed and Mashed. This one is Grooved and Removed. And the really interesting thing about today's episode is I was under the impression that we were doing something different.
Oopsie poopsie.
So I get on here all ready to rank the next band we're going to do, which I won't give that away. And I'm ready to go to rank the next band. And then Mr. Eddie Sparxx, by the way, I'm old head. Mr. Eddie Sparxx is the guy that goofed.
It's me. I did goof. I need a dunce cap in here, stat.
And he's like, so we're doing Grooved and Removed, right? And I'm like, no. And so, but you know what? Like, whatever. Like, that's the thing about this podcast, is that nothing needs to be set in stone, and it isn't like this is a job. So whatever, we can fucking wing it. Because the Grooved and Removed we were planning on doing was for the first 5 Alice in Chains releases. And for those of you who don't know what Grooved and Removed is, we've done this 2 or 3 times, and it's essentially taking 5 classic albums that we love, and we are forced to decide on one song that's permanently removed from the track listing. Now, when I say permanently, I don't mean we can never listen to them again. It's just an idea, guys.
It's the one song we could perhaps live without if we were put in a gun to your head scenario.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, needless to say, I was completely unprepared. I had not thought one moment about which song I would want to remove from any of these releases. But luckily, this is one of my favorite bands, and the first 5 releases from Alice in Chains to me are fucking incredible, and I've heard them many times.
Yes.
So I can probably work on the fly to figure out which ones I would want to remove. That immediately made my brain go, well, that kind of makes Grooved and Removed more interesting. Maybe in the future, neither of us prepare for Grooved and Removed. We just make sure we pick artists where we know the albums well, and we come into it just going, all right, well, we got to make our decisions right as we're doing this. And maybe it adds another level of enjoyability to these videos. So anyway, so Alice in Chains, you're wearing the shirt. I'm wearing my Eagle Fang shirt because the new season of Cobra Kai just came out.
Nice.
I've only seen 2 episodes, so everybody shut up. Because I'm not one of those people. A season comes out and I don't like binging the whole thing at once.
I'm kind of the same.
I could finish it maybe in a week or 2, but not in one day.
That's like my nan with Stranger Things. So I said to her, "Hey, I know you like scary sci-fi stuff. I think you should check this out." She was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I get back to her 3 days later. I'm like, "How far in are you?" She says, "Oh, I finished the entire thing." I'm like, "You watched 4 seasons in 3 days."
To be fair, with a show like Stranger Things, I absolutely understand just binging all the way through. Because I'm pretty sure when the very first season of that show came out, and it's very rare that a television show really comes out and I go, oh, I can't fucking wait. And so, but with Stranger Things, I had no idea what it was because it was the first season, but I heard people were saying nice things about it, and they were saying, hey, do you like 80s horror and sci-fi and stuff? You'll dig this. And needless to say, I did. And I watched that whole first season, which I think the first season was only like 8 episodes or something. All in one sitting. I remember it in my tiny apartment that I lived in at the time. I just fucking blew through the whole thing.
Nice. Yeah, because, oh man, my binge watching skills are either on 0 or 100. Like I remember first time I watched Breaking Bad, I watched about like 4 episodes in a row, and then the next day I watched 1, and then it's like I'm very inconsistent when it comes to binging stuff.
That's another great show for that as well. So my reason for that, and we'll get to Alice in Chains, guys. Be patient. My reasoning for that is that I always enjoy getting to think about what I've just watched which is also the same way that I judge whether or not I liked a movie or not. Because I'll watch a movie, and if the next day I don't think about it at all and I don't care, then it's not one that like was really that great for me. But there are those movies that you just find yourself the next day go, oh, that was great. I'm gonna do some more. I'm gonna research that. Who was in that? Who wrote that? Like if it's a movie that makes me want to go do those, or a series that makes me want to do that, then that's how I truly know it's great. So it's always cool to like watch maybe 1 or 2 episodes, take a little break, and really kind of like soak in. Not that there's a lot to soak in with Cobra Kai, but still, come on. Anyway, so speaking of current events, I got to ask you a very important question before we get to grooved and removed, because you are one of my 2 British friends, and I need to. This is a serious question. I'm not trying to be flippant or snarky. Should I care about the Queen?
I think my take on it is that she's an iconic figure in Britain.
Okay.
She's a grandmother. She's a mother.
Well, she's a human, so obviously it's sad when anybody dies. So yes, I'm with you there.
That's my thing. I'm being respectful. I don't feel particularly affected by it in a personal way.
Yeah.
But then again, as a British person, my tastes are a lot more US oriented: music, media, anything sort of in that vein.
I guess that is true, yeah.
And I find history of our country interesting, but like, on a personal level, I wasn't devastated. And I think the thing is that I am remembering the for the most part, she was 96. She had a pretty decent score in terms of life. And, she lived a long, glamorous life, hardworking. I guess.
Do they do things like? Here's the thing. I know very little about American politics because it's fucking awful, and I know even less about any other country's politics. And so, from my perspective, all I do is go, well, look, it's these people who don't have to do anything to become powerful except for be born into the right family. So why should I respect any part of that at all?
I'm of the same mindset also, where it's like say for example, if she'd like Scarfaced the whole thing and become the Queen, like that's one thing. But it's one of those things. It's a long-standing symbolic thing. I've never felt overly connected to, plus the history of the British Empire is a bit muddy, but I mean,
look at where I live. I live in the it's like the best example of a muddy history is where I live. But I mean, and I know nothing about her. Yeah. So I just, if she was a person that did a lot for people, then that's one thing. But but it seems like a lot of people flat out didn't like her or don't like the royals in general. And I'm like, well, are they just like the British Kardashians, where they're just rich because they're rich and famous because they're famous? Or do they put it? Or do they do good for the world? But that's the thing that makes me think that I should care about somebody's passing if they were a person that had devoted their life to making sure other people were helped or whatever.
I think for me, I think there is a generational element to it as well. I think older generations have more of a connection to it because, the British Empire used to mean something. It doesn't really now. And I suppose, she was, again, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on anything on this because, really it's not a subject that I'm, I review 80s metal online. I'm not an expert on the royals, But, with that, I'm not one of these like football fans doing the Lizzie's in a box chant, but I'm also like, I'm not devastated either. Okay. It's something I could see coming from a mile off, especially like appearances lately. Yeah. And, you know, she looked a lot more frail. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen soon, you know,
and
that sort of thing.
And I'm pretty sure that fucking what's the Charles, the guy that's going to become king. I'm sure he's fucking beyond ready because he was like, she lived into her fucking 90s. I was supposed to already be king already. Apparently, they got some good genes. They live a long time. I guess when you have sex with your own family, your genes end up lasting a long time or something like that.
I think I heard something about like there was this scientific thing a while back. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but apparently some strains of the royal family, if you were to literally bang your sister, you would be less inbred than some sections. Because generational inbreeding, you know, there was that whole thing with the Habsburg jaw. Like, you ever seen that?
No.
You ever notice how like some royal portraits, their chin is like way out here and they have this like big lip? That's a legitimate disability because of back in the day, they like to keep it in the family. So
yeah. Anyway, it's just an interesting subject because from my point of view, we don't have that kind of thing going on over here. I guess the equivalent over here would be our president. But imagine if our presidents always just had to be a descendant of George Washington for years and years and years and years.
Well, that's the thing.
It would end up really boring.
I mean, the monarch is the head of state, but they're not the leader of the country, so to speak.
The prime minister.
Prime minister is the one in charge. She's just you know, she gets to call people sir. You know.
Yeah. And it's just I think the reason why I had to bring it up is because, you know, I don't pay attention to a lot of media, but the little bit that I do, it's just like all these things popping up, like the queen, and now the new king. And I'm just like, well, why is this popping up over here? This has nothing to do with us. And it's not, I don't think it's very interesting at all. So
yeah,
I did see a really funny sort of fake tweet that said, so now they're going to have a man be the new queen. This woke shit has gotten out of control.
yeah, I saw that. I thought that was very funny. Dude. The thing I will say is, like, you know, I've seen a lot of diverse reactions to it. At the end of the day, right? You know, she's a symbolic, iconic person. Yeah. Kind of a bygone era because the royals aren't. I mean, you know, they're still the royal family, but they're not. They're not, say, the royal family of, you know, say the 50s or the 60s or the God knows what century before, you know,
or the way back in the off with their heads days back then.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've seen a lot of you know, Queen, you know, the members of Queen came out and said, you know, rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth II. Iron Maiden did. A lot of like big bands have come out as a show of, you know, respect and whatnot, you know, and that's kind of how I've decided to approach it too. I might be largely ambivalent to the royal thing. I'm not a keen follower. I'm not like, oh my god, Harry and Meghan drama. Like, I'm not that. I'm not that type. But at the end of the day, I mean, she never hurt anyone directly, I guess. So, you know, with that, and I think she inspired a lot of people. So I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah, because at the end of the day, she was someone's grandmother. She was someone's mother. Yeah, and you know, like I said, I'm not one of the Shamrock football fans that were chanting "Lizzie's in a box" in a stadium. So with that, I'm hand it over to you to. That
is a weird chant, but there's
in a box, Lizzie's in a box. It was kind of brutal, to be honest. Like,
that does sound brutal.
I like offensive, edgy jokes, and it did kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, come on, guys, it's been like 4 hours.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we got good night, everybody. That's Queen talk for welcome King Charles.
Yes,
everyone bow down to the man he's already in his 70s, so who knows how long he's gonna last for.
I'm having a hard time. Do I need to see Charles 1 and 2, or can I just see Charles 3 and be caught up?
It's all the same thing. He's out for vengeance because somebody killed his dog. It's all the same.
This time
thing.
it's personal. Charles the Third.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, grooved and removed.
Yes.
This will be interesting because I am not prepared. And so what we're doing is we'll go in order for the first 5 Alice in Chains releases. All those are the Lane Staley era of Alice in Chains.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll discuss which songs we would remove. And just looking at the track listing for Facelift from 19, it's weird how Facelift is an album that the release date is 1990. I guess that does make sense. I don't know why in my brain I remember it in 89 for some reason, but I guess that's not right. I guess it was 1990.
I think sonically it's still very rooted in the 80s hard rock thing.
Maybe that's it.
For as much of a game changer, like stylistically, it still has like one foot in the Guns N' Roses camp.
Yeah. So just looking at the track listing, just a glance, I'm like, well, fuck, I don't know which one of these I would remove.
Well, I can tell you one thing right out of the gate.
Okay.
We Die Young, Man in the Box, Sea of Sorrow, and Bleed the Freak are staying on the album.
Okay. The only 4 of those that I could see an argument against is Sea of Sorrow, and that's only because I always kind of find it funny the rhymey that it's got going on. Yeah. I live tomorrow, you will not follow. As you wallow in a sea of sorrow. It's very sort of like what rhymes with these? Okay.
But like I kind of like that as well. It has a badass swagger to it.
Yeah.
I would say you kind of enter the vibe zone when you get to, I Can't Remember and Love, Hate, Love, which, I love Hate, Love.
I Can't Remember is great too. It Ain't Like That. Oh, I love It Ain't Like That. It Ain't Like That.
Yeah.
It's staying.
Sunshine, I love Sunshine. Then some dude came down to touch the mother.
Yeah. All right. I think I know which one I'm going to remove from Facelift. I feel like we've jumped into this really fast, even though we had like a fucking 30-minute conversation about the Queen. But yeah, there are a lot of really great songs, and then I know them so well that they just kind of play in my head. A little bit plays in my head, and then there's one particular one where I go, that's sometimes I feel like that's kind of the odd one out, if you know which one I'm talking about. So which one did you choose for your removal from Facelift?
Well, here's the thing. This is my favorite Alice in Chains album.
Okay.
And it's kind of hard for me to pick any one song because vibe-wise, they all kind of have what I'm looking for when it comes to this album. I will say I was initially thinking something from the later half of the album, but I find myself kind of torn between 2 tracks.
Okay.
And one is on side A and one is on side B.
Gotcha.
Now, initially I was thinking Put You Down doesn't feel overly grungy, so I did think to myself, it does feel like a Guns N' Roses type thing. So does it fit? Would the vibe of the album be altered if this went? And I was thinking it's probably between that and I Know Something. But then I listened to I Know Something, and I can't deny I love the funk feel of it.
Yeah,
Real Thing I love it because of the riff just sounds so cool. I always get hyped when it comes on. For me, I'm between Confusion and I Can't Remember.
Oh, those are your final ones? Confusion and I Can't Remember?
Yeah, and initially I was thinking Confusion's very slow moving, but the chorus just pays off so hard. whereas I Can't Remember is kind of this. It kind of sits between Love, Hate, Love and one of the more rocking songs, and I feel like it doesn't go too far in either one direction. So it kind of, for me on the album, it's just kind of a middle ground kind of track. I get past Bleed the Freak, and I'm thinking, can we get to Love, Hate, Love yet? I want to listen to Love, Hate, Love.
Yeah.
You know.
So my initial thought was Put You Down should be removed, just because it's the least remarkable of the bunch, because if you think like the sort of rhythm to it is similar to I Know Something About You.
Yeah. Oh yeah, shit, I forgot. I Know Something About You.
And I would never remove I Know Something About You, just because one of my favorite moments. Well, and that whole part, it's like, this sounds like a different album altogether. Yeah. But that being said, though, one of my favorite moments on the album is the I'm gonna tell your mama, that part.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I don't know why. Just the way he sings that, I just love that part. But Put You Down is like a similar groove, and the riff isn't the Put You Down riff. It's really kind of like not very interesting. But going on yours, Confusion is great.
Yeah, like I was thinking to myself initially, you know, now that you've said that about Put You Down, really I'm torn between Put You Down, Confusion, and I Can't Remember.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think Confusion, like, until it gets to the chorus, you're kind of like, yeah, this song's on the album, and then it's like it hits the chorus, and it's like,
you can't tell me you get to the chorus of I Can't Remember where he does that falsetto part, and you're just not like, this song fucking rules. I can't remember. Should stay. Now, if on yours, I would go towards Confusion. Well, fuck this. See, this is really hard, especially when you don't prepare at all.
Here's the thing as well, like, now that I think about it, it really does depend on my mood, because like there are some albums where I have like a definitive least favorite song, but when it comes to my favorite of a band, I still think every song on here is at least an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
I do get the least Alice in Chains vibe from Put You Down. I will say that, because it to me it does feel a little bit like an Appetite B-side.
That riff sounds like Appetite for Destruction.
So, you know what? Actually, and this is not me being swayed, I have thought about it, and there are so many parts of Confusion, and I can't remember now. Yeah, I can remember how good the song is now.
Yeah.
But yeah, shit, man, it's one of those moments where I'm like, can I can't remember. Bear with me 1 sec. I'm just going to quietly listen to.
Okay. If I need to. What were you just listening to?
Oh yeah, no, I can't get rid of. I can't remember. I don't know what I was thinking. The thing is, I was kind of implying a train of thought that I get when I listen to Facelift, and that is, I adore the song Love, Hate, Love. So when I get 4 tracks in, I'm like, are we there yet? You know? So I Can't Remember kind of sits in this unfortunate spot where I do love it, to be fair.
Yeah.
I you know what? I'm with you. Put You Down.
Put You Down.
I kind of Put You Down, because the thing is, it's probably stylistically going to be the least missed for the Facelift vibe.
I mean, on the actual track listing, it fits in nice because it breaks up Sunshine and Confusion, which are kind of slower tempo tracks. But if you take out Put You Down, it goes Sunshine to Confusion and then brings it up with I Know Something About You with a nice little bouncy groove. Yeah. So it's still there.
Alternatively, like you said, Put You Down and I Know Something About You have a very similar feel. So you could just delete Put You Down and swap it with I Know Something. And
they both have, for lack of a better term, the Rocket Queen beat.
Yeah, exactly.
They all have that, and that's a thing that's largely been abandoned, because there was a whole lot of bands that were doing songs around the late 80s and early 90s that had that the beat like from Rocket Queen. There was a lot of that. Like even Ugly Kid Joe had some songs that sounded like that. And
Madman.
So it's like, it's interesting that you don't really, I don't think you hear those anymore. That's been abandoned, which is unfortunate, but you know.
I'm gonna bring that shit back. Single-handedly.
Write one for Sage. A nice little just take the beat from Rocket Queen and write a song over that, and then there you go. So wait, are we deciding on Put You Down as the removal?
Yeah, Put You Down can be the removal. I was just gonna say I have thought about like finding an isolated drum track of like an existing song and writing a song around like an existing recorded drum part just for a bit of fun. Yeah, like an alternate reality version of Rocket Queen, for example.
You want to know an interesting example of something like that? I don't think anybody ever talks about it. One day we'll talk about it when we get to ranking their discography. But the song "Down Boys" by Warrant.
Oh,
the template of Down Boys is you could just fit it right on top of a song called "Bye Bye Love" by the Cars. Because they even begin like "Bye Bye Love" begins. It starts like that, which is just like Down Boys. And then in the verse, he sings a line, and then there's a which in theirs, and then it goes to like a pre-chorus thing that brings it down a little bit, which is just like in Down Boys. And instead of one chorus is bye love, and the other one is where the Down Boys go, or whatever. But if you listen to them back to back, you'll be like, he literally listened to "Bye Bye Love" and said, "I'm going to write that song." And so, and it's really interesting because it's so close. Unfortunately, wow. Janie Lane is not here to answer this question, but it's so close that there's no way that he didn't listen to that song and go, the layout of that song is fucking brilliant. I'm gonna take that. Not that I'm dogging Down Boys, fucking great 80s rock song.
Where the Down Boys go, where the Down Boys go.
It's not going to work out. the overseas lag is never gonna let us do a true harmony. Anyway, but yeah, one day we will we'll rank Warrant. That's one that I don't know why that's on our list, but we'll get there eventually. Anyway, not talking about Warrant. We have successfully removed Put You Down.
Yes.
From Facelift, the debut album from Alice in Chains, which would bring us to their second release, the underrated EP, in my opinion, Sap. Because most people you can tell, like, not dogging you because of your age, but a lot of people, whenever they come and be like, fucking a Jar of Flies is like much better than Sap, and I'm just like, clearly you weren't there. I'm like, because like at the time when Sap came out, like there is no Jar of Flies without Sap, and Sap blew me away because I was not prepared. Because I was not really that into Facelift at the time, and then I heard Sap, and I was like, how is this like 5-track EP of mostly acoustic shit so fucking good?
Yeah,
and I listened to it over and over and over again, and honestly, it was probably the first thing that got me into Alice in Chains, which is weird because they're known as being a heavier band. But 5 tracks. Now here's the real question. Whenever there's a song that's clearly kind of a silly song or an interlude or a throwaway, are we going to be tough on ourselves and say you can't remove that song?
I was going to ask you this exact question because Love Song is, clearly a piss take,
Yeah.
Complete with fart sounds and everything. Yeah. So yeah, same goes for Iron Gland on Dirt. We can't cop out. We got to.
So here's the thing, though. Most of the time, I would agree. Like Iron Gland can't be removed because it's mostly just a little instrumental, like interlude. It's not an actual song. Love Song is an actual song on the album, even though it's not serious. The only reason I'm saying that is in this particular case, those first 4 tracks are fucking ridiculously good. True. And I would not be able to live with myself getting rid of any of them. Brother, Got Me Wrong, Right Turn, Am I Inside? Fucking okay, fine. Love Song stays. We're gonna get rid of one of the other ones because we're not gonna cop out. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter anyway. I'm gonna go listen to whatever song we remove right after we finish this. So yeah, we've got 5 tracks. Can't be Love Song because Love Song is its own thing.
It'd be too easy.
So
jinx.
I would say mine would be Am I Inside if I had to remove one.
I'm gonna agree because
all right, bye everyone. That was fucking easy.
That's the thing though, with Brother's just great. Got Me Wrong has that killer part where it goes, full rock in the chorus. And Right Turn has Mark Arm and Chris Cornell.
As Alice Mudgarden.
Yeah.
For me, Got Me Wrong is one of my favorite Alice in Chains songs, so there's no way that I would remove that. Brother it just feels good. Like there are certain pieces of music from my younger years that you just hear the guitar at the beginning and it just makes me it feels so good just hearing that acoustic guitar start strumming in the beginning of Brother. I'm just like,
I love the hum as well, the
and Right Turn is amazing.
Isn't Ann Wilson also on this?
Ann Wilson sings on Brother and Am I Inside, I think. So we didn't get rid of Ann Wilson totally. So she's still there. But
love you.
And I also I love in Right Turn the last chorus of it where everyone's singing really low. And we ain't right. Just the way that sounds, I'm always like, it's so fucking cool. And then all of a sudden you have to have Chris Cornell showing off and he starts singing all high.
Believe somebody tricked you. Yeah. That was more of a falsetto, Chris. But yeah.
Yeah. I can't sing anywhere near that high. It would all be falsetto for me. Am I Inside gets removed. If it was being simple, then we would remove Love Song. But it seemed like removing Am I Inside was simple anyway.
Well, with that, we now come to.
Oh God.
Yeah, this is going to be hard, especially
one of the greatest albums ever made. Dirt from 1992 literally is about at the end of this month. Its 30th anniversary is at the end of this month.
Hell yeah.
And we can't remove Untitled or Iron Gland, which if I remember right, on my original CD, that wasn't even a track that was listed on the back. It didn't say Iron Gland or anything. And also my original CD version, Down in a Hole, was the next to last song on the album, which is where I've always thought it belongs. I think we talked about that when we did the ranking.
I'm in agreement there. It always weirds me out at the end of Rain When I Die on like later pressings when Down in a Hole comes on. This is like the one time where I'm like, track 4, the ballad does not go on track 4. Every other time it's track 4.
Yeah, track 4 should be Sick Man because it just feels right. So we've got 12 tracks to choose from. There are a whole lot of like this. There's no fucking way this can be removed. Oh, It's not going to be Wood because that's one of the greatest songs ever written, in my opinion.
Yeah, to be honest, that's in like my top 5 or at least top 10 songs ever.
Yeah.
So no fucking chance is Wood coming off this album.
Yeah.
Oh man, like here's the thing.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've recently filmed and finished. It just needs uploading a track list tournament on Dirt, and I didn't feel good putting anything at the bottom.
Just so everyone out there knows, if you don't know, Eddie Sparxx has been posting. Well, he posted a new video of a new series of videos called Tracklist Tournament, and the first one he did was Rust in Peace. Now, my only gripe there, it was very enjoyable, but I was like, he's doing the fucking remastered 2004 version, so literally every track goes at the end.
Yeah. Hey, I'm working off what Spotify gives me. That's my setup now.
I get it, because you're able to do a playlist and switch things around and stuff. So that works. Yeah. It's really it's a fun concept. It's almost like the opposite of this, where this one we're trying to come up with what we think is the weakest song on the album and remove it. Whereas his new series of videos, go follow him, Eddie Sparxx on YouTube, is picking what he thinks is the best song on the album, which sometimes is super easy. Other times, like with Rust in Peace, I don't really know. That's a really tough one. And you chose one that I initially wouldn't have chosen, but then I went to listen to it and I go, hey, he's not wrong.
For me, it was that solo that won it for me. Marty Friedman just
yeah,
that is just killer. But yeah, we're on this one about dirt.
On this one, so okay, Them Bones. The energy of that song, it's as a fucking intro is amazing. Then going straight into Damn That River with that fucking riff is so fucking great. Rain Will I Die, some of the best vocals that Lane Staley probably ever did right there.
Yeah.
Down
so
in
good
a Hole.
That Kiss copied him.
Yeah. Yeah. Down in a Hole is the first one where I go, I could do without this song.
Wow, really?
But that's only if I have to fucking choose one, because it's a beautiful song. But that's the first one where I don't say, fuck yeah, absolutely staying. And Sick Man is one of my favorite Alice in Chains songs. Rooster. So Rooster has a little bit of a tough time with me because it's been so overplayed. Not only when it originally came out, but like now on like classic rock radio in America, you hear Rooster probably 10 times every day.
See, I don't think I could ever get sick of Rooster. Yeah, I love Rooster.
It is one that it drags on a little bit for me because I've heard it now probably thousands of times. But it doesn't. But taking a step back and looking at it as an actual song and actual performances, it's a fucking classic, absolute classic.
Yeah, and I would go as far as to say Junkhead as well. Junkhead absolutely is staying, because I love the heaviness, the moodiness, the scariness of the choruses and the verses, but it's that guitar solo melody that does it for me. To this day, still one of the most haunting, beautiful things that has ever blessed my ears.
Are you talking about the I love that part.
Yeah. Prime example as well. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say a prime example of a lead guitar part that works great with just the bass under it. Like sometimes you don't need the rhythm guitar there. Yeah. And that's a love that.
So the weird thing is that like the song Dirt, I'm like, well, it is, I guess, one of the least awesome on the album, but the album is fucking called Dirt.
Ah. It's just
it's great.
Wherever I May Roam slowed way the fuck down. For me, and I feel like I'm gonna hurt your feelings here, because my least favorite track from this album for me is I thought to myself, is it Sick Man or is it Godsmack? And I gotta say,
it's neither. What?
I looked at the rest of the track listing and I was just like, I'm sorry, but the stats. I looked at it, and when I was what's that?
You know what?
It's go time.
I'm gonna save this for a second, because I'm gonna talk about. I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is one of those things where like I had a thought and I'm like, all right, but I'm going to hold on to that thought. Because I was talking about like Sick Man is so great. Sick Man is like a fucking psychedelic song. Like, there's so much shit in that where like the first time you hear that song, you have no clue what you're in for or where the fuck it's going to go. Yeah. And it somehow all works together as a song. And there's a vocal harmony part kind of in the middle section of it.
So the part where it slows down.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. See, that's my favorite part of the song. And it's that part that's like, oh, I wish this could go higher. But like the rest of the song, I simply just like every other song a bit more, as opposed to, I don't think this is good. It's like, I think these 11 other tracks, my ears like more. I guess. But
Sick Man, the verse vocals on Sick Man, well, and on Godsmack, is they're really good examples of why, even though I think William Duvall is very talented and a great vocalist, and I like what Alice in Chains are doing now, but nobody in the band now does vocals like that. Just the what the hell have happened, and then the sick man, like that's like, that is literally just Lane. And the same thing with Godsmack with the and I just I love that so much. But so here and then. Yeah, because then you get to fucking Hate to Feel. No way that one's gonna go. And Angry Chair, no way that one's gonna go. So here's because you kind of relented to me last time with Put You Down. We kind of came to see eye to eye. A thought popped up in my head that immediately made me agree with one of your choices. Hear me out. If we remove Godsmack from this album,
I know what you're gonna say.
Could we in turn remove Godsmack the band from existence? Because that makes me feel very good.
Fucking hell. I know one guy who's gonna hate that.
Who's what's his name? What's the main guy? Sully? Sully's gonna be pissed off.
Fucking I was gonna say the front man of my band is gonna hate that because he likes Godsmack quite a bit.
Godsmack don't deserve the hate that they get. I don't like them personally, but it was just a nice way to like make me go, I feel better about this. Speaking of that, I don't know if you've heard this, but let's have another tangent, shall we? Because
tangent time.
There's no fucking roadmap to this episode. Have you heard the new Nickelback song yet?
I might have done in passing.
It's called San Quentin, and it had a really big buildup only because they posted 10 seconds of the song that sounded like a fucking metalcore song. Because it was like dun, 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 and that's a fucking bait and switch because that's not the fucking song. But that being said, because I'm not a Nickelback hater, I some of their songs I will immediately turn the radio off because I just think they're fucking awful. But overall, I'm just like, they're just a band doing what they do. That being said, I played the song just because I'm like, well, it's new Nickelback. I'm all about supporting the unfairly maligned, bands and songs and albums. And so, like I'm going to do my best to give them some attention and see if they really deserve all of the hate that they get. So I listened to the song San Quentin all the way through one time. And I was like, it ended and I went, we'll put that on again. Because the song is just like a stomper of it's like a stripper rock song. The beat of it, and just the chorus of the song is so fucking simple. Keep me out of San Quentin, like that's what it is. But I'm just like, for some reason, I'm just like, this is really good. And the worst part of the song is the part that everyone was like, is this going to be metal? I'm like, no, fuck the beginning of the song. I like the fact that it fucking fakes you out where you're just like, where's this going to go? But no, it goes straight into stripper territory right away. And so it really, like, I still don't ever want to hear, look at this photograph or whatever fucking song that is. And
I will say, in defense of Photograph, it did give us the look at this something meme.
Look at this graph!
Where he's like looking.
His face is fucking great. But and there's another one. Do they do the song? It starts off with like, "I want your pants around your feet." Is that them?
They have a song called they have a song that literally goes, "You look cuter with something in your mouth." It's like
Jesus Christ.
It's like hair metal like levels of insanely debaucherous, and I like sex lyrics, don't get me wrong, but like, and coming from someone who has been a vocal defender of 80s hair metal his entire life, but it's like, it's weird that you still still get kind of like a modern hard rock band every now and again. It's like, oh, did not expect that from today.
But that being said, like those songs that I've heard in the past, I was like, no, fuck this. Now I'm all like, well, maybe I need to go revisit all of those, and maybe we should be doing a Cranked and Ranked on Nickelback. Because
I will say,
but we wait until their new album comes out.
Yes.
Because I think that I'm going to find things about them that I like. And just the fact that they have one song that I wanted to listen to 2 times, and I remember the fucking song and the chorus, and like, that's just good songwriting right there. It's like, sure, it's not going to fucking blow anybody's minds that's looking for guitar virtuosos. People who are a fan of the new Megadeth album are not going to like, well, there's a little bit of that sounds like Nickelback, but still there's they're not going to like it because it's, it almost seems like that's you have to have your line in the sand, and you go, no, I like this, I don't like that, which is fine, to each their own, but that line is not there for me anymore. It's like I feel like all the lines have gotten very blurry for me. That being said, I haven't really heard any Godsmack that blew me away, so I'm perfectly okay with removing them from the planet and removing Godsmack from dirt.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I've always I think it's called "Burn It Down." I've always liked that Nickelback song that goes like that one. I like that.
Well, when they first came out, they were kind of lumped in with the new metal scene, right? Like I almost remember, like Nickelback reminds me of when Disturbed first came out. Like it was around that time you would see Disturbed, that I'm going to stupefy, rah, that part, that song. That's another band. That's another band that I feel like I could probably find a lot of songs that I liked, but I don't know enough about them, and I've heard some that I thought just weren't that great. But anyway, I always
like their riffs. Yeah,
and I like that guy's voice. I don't know his name, but he's
David Draymond.
He's got a cool voice. Anyway, this is totally off topic, but not really, because we were
Man's got
there.
Pipes blood. Yeah, man.
We were removing. So you're cool with removing Godsmack? From dirt.
Now that I examine, Sick Man is at least a way more interesting song structurally than Godsmack. Even though my ears prefer Godsmack, my brain is saying Sick Man is an intellectual. Yeah.
And so, I guess the chorus from Godsmack is not as cool as the verses. Yeah. Once again, we have that riff. Like every song that has the Rocket Queen beat in it, we're going to remove. Anyway, all right. Well, that brings us to Jar of Flies.
Yes.
Which, despite what I said earlier, I think is a fucking incredible EP. I just think that when I heard Jar of Flies, when it came out, I listened to it a shitload because it's fucking genius. But it didn't hit me the same way that Sap did, because I had heard them do these acoustic style songs before. So I was just like, cool, we're getting more of these acoustic songs. That being said, I Stay Away is probably one of my favorite Alice in Chains songs. So,
I think as well, like you're definitely coming at it from the, excuse me, I was there, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it's just a different way. I know it's stupid to be like I was there back in the day because it doesn't fucking matter. But when it comes to like my actual opinion, it's formed on the fact that when I heard Sap, there were no other releases after that. You know, like so.
It was so different but so high quality that you're still impressed by it all these years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like when I definitely see what you mean. For me, I think the songwriting is stronger on Jar of Flies overall. But with that, let's get into this. Now, I want to make a stipulation. Are we, because being as we didn't we took Love Song out of the equation, right?
Yeah.
Whale and Wasp is more of a kind of composition than it is a song with vocals and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should we exclude it because it doesn't feature any vocals?
Well, on the same token, should we exclude Swing on This because it's clearly not serious, just like Love Song? So I almost feel like let's just, you know what? It doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. Let's make it even more difficult for us by saying both of those songs can't be removed.
Okay. Holy shit.
Because they fit the criteria of one being kind of an instrumental. I mean, it's a longer interlude, but it's, it's an interlude. And then Swing on This being kind of a fun song at the end. So it's too easy to get rid of those.
Yeah.
Bringing us down to Rotten Apple, Nutshell, I Stay Away, No Excuses, Don't Follow. Those are the 5 that we have to work from. Now, I'm pretty sure neither one of us is going to choose Nutshell because who the fuck would?
Who in their right mind would get rid of Nutshell?
Just for the fact that every single time there's the solo and then there's a little pause and he goes and coming from somebody like me, that's why I love the fact that I can play guitar, I can play rhythm guitar, I can get by as a guitar player. If you wanted me to join your band, I could probably play, depending on your band, half of your shit fairly well. But I'm not that great to where I still hear things like that and I go, is he even fucking human? Because it just sounds so fucking perfect. The fluidity of like those notes and how fast they are, but also how beautiful and melodic it sounds at the same time. There's a little bit of that on Rotten Apple with the solo in Rotten Apple as well.
Dude.
But dude's amazing. I mean, I know people talk about how great Jerry Cantrell is, but I'm probably not enough. Like he's beyond that. So, but yeah. And I love, like I said, I love I Stay Away. It's one of my favorites. So I don't want to get rid of I Stay Away. I almost feel the same about No Excuses. I think that's a really great, almost kind of pop song in a way.
As a drummer, that is one of the most fun songs to play.
It's because it's almost like he's like, guess what happened? It's like Sean was like, I just went to the drum store and I bought all these different things. I'm going to fit them all into the first 30 seconds of this song.
Yeah.
I got a tiny tom. I got a tiny cymbal. Boop, they're all going to fucking go in.
Well, it's funny as well because like I found out how fun it was to play on drums before I had a drum kit because I had a game called Guitar Hero Metallica, and that's one of the special guest songs in that game. I had the drum kit as well. So when I first loaded it up, I just saw all these notes coming towards me. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I
didn't know you could play drums on Guitar Hero Metallica. So that's a game I've actually played, but this was a long time ago. And unfortunately, I had the Wii version of Guitar Hero Metallica, which I heard is not as good, but it's all I could afford. I don't remember why I had a Wii, but
you probably drank too much.
Exactly. That's literally where my brain went. Because if I was talking to an American, that joke would never have come into my head. Anyway, so I didn't know you could play drums on that, but I played it and I thought it was fun. I wasn't, I'm not fucking Mr. Guitar Hero man or Mr. Video Game man, but you know, I thought it was fun.
I got pretty good at those games for a while when I was about like 13, 14. But yeah, anyway, like we were saying,
yeah,
Jar of Flies, dude, no excuses.
So okay, so you want to let me know where your brain is on this, what you would want to remove?
Here's the thing. Jar of Flies is one of my favorites of all time. It's my go-to album if I'm like feeling a little homesick and I'm staying somewhere else and I need to kind of calm myself down. This album goes on, 30 minutes later I'm absolutely fine. You know?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. It has that kind of effect on me. If we're talking about it from a song perspective and we're not including Whale and Wasp and Swing on this, Rotten Apple has an incredible vibe to it. Yeah. Nutshell is immortal. I Stay Away has really beautiful string arrangements. No Excuses has an awesome, iconic drum beat. Don't Follow, as much as I love it as a song, it's definitely a very stripped back one man and his guitar until the rest of the band comes in for this like bluesy jam later on.
Yeah.
So even though I think it's like 9-10 territory, I'm thinking it's going to have to be that one because I feel like it brings the least uniqueness to the table.
I'm with you. I think this is going to be easy because because honestly, I feel like if I removed anything and there was no rules, I'd probably just remove Swing on This because I like Don't Follow ending the EP because it has a great final song kind of vibe. But yeah, Don't Follow out of those 5 tracks is the one where I just it doesn't really do a lot for me in the same way that the other 4 do. So which would make this EP end up really weird because it would end with Whale and Wasp and Swing on This. It would just be like I mean, we're kind of fucking up the EP a little bit there, but whatever. It's okay. Maybe in our version we can switch things around where we can put Whale and Wasp before No Excuses or Exclusives. Whatever I just said.
It's scared the mortals.
So we're in agreement on Don't Follow.
Yep.
Okay, so there you go. Don't Follow removed from Jar of Flies. All right, I have a feeling this is going to be hard. That's what she said.
Yeah. Hey, hey-o.
The self-titled Alice in Chains album from 1995 or Tripod, depending on what you want to call it. This is one that has grown on me so much over the years,
and me,
and has several songs that I put up with like the best shit that Alice in Chains ever did. And some of it's because it's incredibly well written or incredibly unique. Other times it's just fucking weird, and I love that. And that's another thing that they don't do anymore. There's not a lot of weird Alice in Chains anymore, and I think a lot of that came from Lane because Lane wrote songs too, like fucking Angry Chair is Lane, like the weird guitar riff and everything. That's Lane's song. So I think that's one of the things that sucks is that the odd quality of this band is not really there anymore. They're almost like a classic rock version of a grunge band now. I like them still, but
it's kind of a more polished, less rough around the edges, kind of a little bit safer, playing it safer.
It's essentially nowadays. Like Jerry Cantrell solo album shit with a little bit more of a metallic edge, I guess, at times.
Yeah, like man, like a song I heard today for the first time in ages that I was just like, oh fuck, that's cool. Was Nothing Song Sticks to Your Mouth like peanut butter on the brain. You know, like
oh god, that song is so fucking great.
Yeah. So of course we know that one's staying. So
so just looking at these songs.
It's one of those albums that took a long time with me to set in, but when it did, in my opinion, the mid-90s are the era of the Grower album, and this personifies that because every time I hear it, I hear something new.
Okay. I think if I had to choose one, I think I might know the one I would go with, but Grind is fucking amazing. Brush Away is amazing. Sludge Factory, forget about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That fucking meme.
What is that meme?
Snoring. There's a meme of a dude snoring. It became like one of the most used TikTok sound effects of this year. I'm showing my generation at this point, but it's like someone recently did one where like it started out funnily. It started out as just this like funny clip of a dude snoring, really fucking obnoxiously loud, like.
Oh, is that the one?
Yeah.
So I see these where I go, pardon my scream at the end of the video, and it's always like at the end of it.
Well, the funniest one I've seen yet is Freddie Mercury at Live Aid. But you know when he does the day-o, it just goes,
That's fucking funny. That's pretty funny. There are some funny things on TikTok. I'll have to say there's also a lot of obnoxious things on TikTok.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anyway, Heaven Beside You is fucking
brain damage humor. It's just like type of thing.
Heaven Beside You is just a fucking beautiful song.
Yeah.
And I've always loved what do you call? So you have verse, chorus, or verse maybe pre-chorus, but there's a part that happens after some of the choruses. What would you call that? It's not a verse. It's an
interlude or a bridge.
Maybe it's a bridge. Maybe it's or a middle eight, but it's just got that part. So there's problems in your life. Yeah. It's fucked up. I always love that part of the song so much.
Yeah.
And then Again is a fucking banger. So initially, you would think, oh, Shame and You should go. But the fucking harmony vocals on that thing.
No way.
Especially going into the chorus of the song. It's so fucking great.
Yeah. For me, dude, when I was listening to this.
Goddamn's amazing. That's goddamn amazing. Goddamn.
I actually, when I went through this, I listened to all the deep cuts first because I knew I liked all the, big songs off of this. So I went through and I listened to them and I was like, maybe one of these deep cuts on this album I maybe don't like as much as Dirt and Facelift.
Yeah.
And can I just say, I like it more and more every time I hear it.
Yeah, it's fucking great. I think the more and more we're removed from having Lane Staley on this earth, the more this album reveals itself as being a fucking masterpiece.
For sure. Like for me, even when I looked at Frogs, I was like, Frogs might be a bit long. It's 8 minutes, 20 seconds. And then I listened to it and I was like, this is a fucking journey. So
to be honest, Frogs is the only one where I think I would be okay with removing it because it's a bit long for what it delivers.
Yeah.
And I would never remove Over Now, even though Over Now is a little bit, it's not the best song on the album. But as a closing to that chapter of the band, and I know they did 2 more songs that they released on the Greatest Hits, but still as an album, that being the closing and the last thing you hear is We Pay Our Debt Sometime. That's just fucking beautiful.
I'm in agreement. That. It's like it's one of those albums that has an end credits type vibe.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Honestly, for me, I'm gonna go with So Close because here's the thing. Yeah. So close now. That's the. I'm gonna listen to a quick.
No, what's that fucking? No, yeah, and then the fucking harmony vocals that come in. Shit. It's like that guy.
Oh fuck! Here's I
told you. Man. I told you. It's like that.
Hey,
it's like that new thing I see where they're rating albums, and it's got that guy going woo and all the fucking things. That's how I feel about So Close and most of this album.
Good old Charlie. Good old Moist Critical.
Is that who that is? See, you know their names. They're all beyond what I know.
He's a good guy. He's got some good takes. I like the part. I like the guy. I like the middle guy, like the food reviewer in there.
I mean, it's all right.
Like that one always gets me.
Yeah.
Like, because it's always like sometimes you'll get it on an album that like kind of deserves that, and you're kind of like nodding with him, like, I mean, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's the ones where The Rock goes, it's the biggest piece of dog shit, where I'm like, come on,
because it's always fucking Saint Anger when they're doing Metallica, which is like that's become the number one thing. Like, if you want me to take you seriously and that's your last album on your Metallica ranking, like, nah, I'm not taking you seriously because you're literally just following a crowd or paying too much attention to a goddamn snare sound that is on other albums that you like. I'm sure there's shitty sounding snare everywhere. Anyway,
shit snare everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Old
but
Head 2022.
I have no obviously I have no problem with that album. I love that album. That Saint Anger is like the self-titled Alice in Chains album to me. Not as good. I'm not going to say that, but but it is one that over the years, the more I listen to it, the more I go, there's so much fucking good shit here.
Yeah.
So are we agreeing that So Close probably shouldn't be removed from this album?
Here's the thing, though. Like, I went back over this album thinking to myself, this should be easy. I mean, it's not. I was thinking to myself, I don't like it as much as Dirt, so it might not be as difficult.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, it's Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Like one of my top 5 bands. So it's dude. Like okay, I'm gonna say this now. Grind, no way. Brush Away, no way. Sludge Factory, absolutely fucking not. Heaven Beside You is a great song. Head Creeps, I love it. Again, no fucking way. Shaming You, no way. Goddamn, no way. For me, it's it's either between So Close and Frogs. Really, I could definitely see Frogs being, because here's the thing. Frogs is 8 minutes 20. Probably didn't need to be 8 minutes 20. Yeah, Over Now is 7 minutes.
Well, that's just because of the really long intro to that thing. But but if you're comparing them to, I'm down with removing Frogs, because if you're talking about sort of a psychedelic kind of a longer song, Sludge Factory, you already have that.
To be honest, the whole album has that kind of vibe going on.
Yeah.
So
and Frogs is one that, like, it's got a cool vibe, but I wouldn't miss it from the album if it absolutely had to, had to go.
You could also remedy part of its mid-90s, maybe a titchy bit too long thing as well.
Yeah, because what is it? An hour and 5 minutes total.
Yeah, so you could shave off nearly 10 minutes of runtime.
Yeah, bring it under an hour. Look what we do. Look what we did for everybody out there.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? Frogs being removed? I love how we have to have a discussion like this is a real thing that's going to happen.
Well, we've the viewer has come to witness this type of thing. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna concede to Frogs. Because upon my re-listening of So Close, now that I examine that properly, I couldn't justify that. Considering as well, it's the shortest song on the album, so it goes in, does what it needs to do, and gets out.
Yeah. So for anyone that was curious, if you're just now joining us, which would be weird because it's not live, the rundown was from Facelift, we removed Put You Down.
Mm-hmm.
From Sap, we removed Am I Inside.
That we
From
did.
Dirt, we removed Godsmack. From Jar of Flies, we removed Don't Follow. And from the self-titled album, we removed Frogs. And I mean, it is what it is, because it doesn't matter. Thank you for being here for this complete wasted time. It doesn't actually matter. But it ended up being a really nice discussion about, and Alice in Chains is another one of those bands that I just like talking about them. So
for sure,
any chance to do that is fucking great for me. But yeah, that's there you go. That's grooved and removed, right?
Yeah, boy.
The first 5 Alice in Chains, which went really well considering that I was not prepared at all. But I'm telling you right now, the next time we plan one of these, a grooved and removed, I'm going to be like, don't listen to them, don't think about it. Let's just go into this blind, because that seems very interesting to me, especially because we'll be doing ones that we know very well. I don't know where we'll go from here, because we have to figure out bands that we both definitely know the shit really well. We can probably get there. Maybe we do Nirvana, something like that.
Yeah, Nirvana would be a good one.
Anyway, that was a motorcycle or something going with, or moped.
You want to know the thing as well? My windows are shut, so that is a loud ass bike.
Yeah. All right. We usually like to end our show with a bit of a feeling.
Well, we got to do it because we did it.
Oh, 3, 2, 1. Yeah! We did it!
That was a good one.
Yeah. I mean, it's still completely off on my side, and on the video that everyone gets to see at home. I usually correct it on the podcast, so it sounds a lot better on the podcast. So you're getting a little bit of a better version when you just listen to us, and you don't have to look at us. Isn't that like a win-win right there? So except for Eddie, what am I talking about?
Speak for yourself.
That was fun. We accomplished nothing, but we did get to talk about one of the greatest bands ever for over an hour. And that's all I ever want to do.
Hell yeah.
And then next week we're going to be back with a band discography. Everybody remember that I said that, because then if
band I'm going to write it on my arm, and I'm not going to wash that arm for a week. Just going to come back, and my arm's going to be like completely filthy. It's just, the rest of me is fine.
Just don't wash that arm.
Yeah.
But so we will be back with an actual Cranked and Ranked next week.
Yes.
And just to give everyone kind of a heads up, we are getting very close to the 100th episode that we've ever done.
Holy shit.
And I'm including, so we have all of our podcast episodes, and we've done like 4 or 5 things that were just on YouTube. And I went through and added them all up. And in a couple weeks, it will be the 100th episode we have done together. And so the plan is we are going to do some kind of a live stream, probably on a Sunday afternoon, my time, Sunday evening, Eddie's time. We'll figure it out, and stay tuned. If you're on any of my socials or in YouTube, I'll post about it beforehand so you know about it. But it's a cause to celebrate. 100 times we've done this.
Hell yeah, man.
That's insane.
It is pretty mental.
Yeah. But I guess, we've done a lot of weekends over the past 2+ years. I don't know how many months it's been.
Many more to come.
Going on 2.5 years, I guess, pretty soon.
So we started in June 2020, and we're on September. So as of December this year, we will have been doing this for 2.5 years.
Yeah. And those of you who've been here for a long time, thank you. And peanut butter platypus to all of you out there. And yeah, we'll wrap this up. This Grooved and Removed. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. And we'll be back next week with a band discography ranking.
A band. Yes.
Yes. And so yeah, as usual, I'm going to throw it over to Mr. Eddie Sparxx to take us out.
I'm sorry, I forgot my catchphrase too. Is it salutations, bro? No.
I mean it's just as good.
I'm a head out.
Later, dude. I'll do it. I'll do it this time. Later, dude.
Yeah, you get to do it.
All right.
All right.
Later, dude.